I'm alive.
We
We
we there. We here.
we live. We live, y'all. Hey, you know what time it is? It is time for the UnRead Book Review with Nick and Roo. I am your sister Roo here with MaWu Lisa Temple, beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley. It's a little gray today. We had some of that S word. We ain't gonna talk about that no more. But we are here today and we are excited because this is our last December, our last day in December, our last day for this 2024 year. And we are here to talk about the year in review. So we're going to talk about the UnRead Book Review in review. Ooh, we're getting busy. So Mr.
Right.
Westbrooks, my homie, my ace, is here with me today. We have been rocking strong for a year. Mr. Westbrooks, how you feeling? You feeling excited? Are you as excited as you was when we first started? Let's talk about
I think the excitement has grown since
it.
then.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, because I'm already excited. I was already excited to talk about books, but after I saw what books you bought and I bought and how much fun we were having talking about those books and how much fun we were having these conversations with other people and authors and guests, I'm like, oh yeah, I got even more excited because I started thinking about where this is going to go in the future and where it can go and what books I'm going to bring and what books you're going to bring and what authors we're going to invite on, and it's just even more excited than when we started.
Talk about it. Talk about it. I mean, it's so funny because, much like we don't plan anything else, y'all, we ain't planning today neither, because we love our books. Let me tell you, we can tell you every book we brought. We can tell you every one. But today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to take some time and highlight a couple of the ones that we, really enjoyed. Some we might want to go back to and revisit or talk about. Even one or two might have got read. Who knows? But nonetheless, we are here today with you, and we thank you for being here with us. The book review with Nick and Roo is something, like I said, we've been going strong for a year. Even before then, that's one of the connections that Nick and I had was through books. And I don't know if y'all be watching this page, if y'all follow him, but man, he make it hard for his sister to keep up. And anybody that know me know that anybody that make it hard for me to keep up, oh, he doing some reading. So we gotta watch him, y'all. He really, he got a lot of stuff going on over there. But
Listen,
nonetheless, what?
listen. I'm just playing catch up. I'm just catching up to you because you had a head start with
Listen,
your years of
first of
experience.
all, nice way to call me old, but say nice way to call me old, but I'm gonna just say I've been reading for a while. But
Yeah.
but nah, it's this is a great space, and much like you, I think I'm even more excited for where we are right now and what we've been able to accomplish over the last year. Even when we had some situations, we had some pre-records, we had some days that just didn't work out, days with technical difficulties. Oh my goodness, we just had it all. So to be sitting here today and get ready to talk about a few of the books that kind of stood out to us and things we want to see moving forward is a lot of fun. So I thank you for rocking with me and allowing me to rock with you over this year, over these book reviews. So peace to the God. So where you want to start, man? Where do you want to even begin?
Man, I don't, what I did. Of course, we're not going to go through all the books that we have, but I'll give you a visual representation of what I have with me. I don't have everything, but I have most of them, and I'll just hold up the stacks. So just so you
Oh,
see, I'm gonna hold up the stacks.
oh no, not the stacks.
Yeah. So I got. All right. I'm gonna start. Hold on. Let me get the spines all aligned.
Uh,
So
uh,
yeah. So look, I got I got all of these right here. In this, in these two hands, right? And then I'm gonna put
yes.
those down, and I'm gonna pick up some more. And there's some more. This is the rest of what I have with me.
Right, right.
Because we did have one ebook series, that was Voices of the Diaspora. So I don't have that one physically. And then also the IUL book, I actually gave that one to my father to read, see if that's something he's interested in. If you recall, that was the one about that insurance product, the Index Universal Life Insurance. So I gave that to my father since he's into, the planning for the future, retirement and estate planning and things of that nature. I thought it'd be good for him to read. And I did this from memory for the most part. I try to remember what books I brought, and I just pulled them off of the shelf. So I think those are the only two that's missing, unless I'm forgetting something. But I do have, so I have the ones that we discussed. I also have some updates too.
Okay.
Only two updates. I think for the most part, all the books here I did not revisit yet, but I either shared with others, like the IUL book, or I either shared with others, or and I do have one that I also have one of yours that I got too. So I'll talk about that in a second. But one of my favorites that I shared with others was my first offering on the very first episode, which was How to Understand Your Bible.
Your Bible, yes.
Philosopher's Interpretation of Obscure and Puzzling Passages by Manly P. Hall. So far, this has been one of my favorites in regards to studying the Bible, and I actually gifted this to a couple people. So I sent this to my sister Banka. So I sent it to her. I sent it to my former co-worker India. I sent it to her as well. So this was one that I not only recommended, but actually bought and shared with others. And another one that some of the readers purchased after our show. Shout out to Jasmine, Jazzy. She was the recipient of Roo's Divine Day giveaway.
Yes.
So we can highlight that in a minute. But this is one of the books that she purchased after watching UnRead, The Slave Side of Sunday. And this was
I remember you brought that one. Absolutely.
Yeah, this was from February, because I planned this one around Black History Month and the Super Bowl. So that's another one. And one of yours, Rue, that I got actually was gifted to me by my sister Ro. I actually forgot to pull that one off the shelf, but let me show you, because I don't think I told you that I received this one. Let me see, where did I put it? I put it over. Oh yeah, it's up there in the top left. I gotta get up and grab that one. So this one, after I shared how amazing this book sounded, another one of my friends said, "You know what? I'm gonna get that for you. I'm gonna get it for myself too." And that is Lords of the Left Hand Path. I have a copy of it.
Yes.
Yep. So I received this, several weeks ago. No, not too long after we had that broadcast.
I got a lot of positive feedback about that book. That was one of the ones that was one of my favorites to share. I was kind of reluctant to share it, actually.
Oh wow, that's interesting that you were reluctant to share it.
It's one of those things where you realize everything ain't for everybody and everything ain't to be talked about, But for whatever reason, I feel like one of the things that I'm really proud of when it comes to giving this offering that we are, is that we do introduce people to some of the more obscure books that they wouldn't just hear about, anywhere. And it's not like, there's not like there's a lot of advertisement for bookstores and libraries and things like that, unless you're looking at, well, what's the bestseller list, or that happens to be your thing, which you're into. A lot of times these books come out published and nobody ever knows unless that's your area of interest. So, that book, being as controversial as it is in some circles, it made me reluctant almost to kind of share it, but I felt like it was necessary, especially in this time of awakening where there's so much information out there and it's disorganized. This is a way to look at it in a very organized and rational kind of manner. So yeah,
Indeed.
that was one of the books that, yeah, I actually had that on my list as one of my favorites that I talked about this year as well.
Yeah, and I think the previous books that we offered leading up to that one kind of set the stage for it. So we kind of dabbled in some books that might have been on a controversial side, especially when it comes to spirituality and religion. I mean, even the Manly P. Hall book has some controversial interpretations of the scriptures, but I also brought the astrological foundation of the Christ myth. And you put Christ myth together, just those two words together will give a lot of people pause and shock, like, what?
Absolutely, absolutely. I did, I'll ask you now because we kind of covered it then, but for the people who weren't fortunate enough to join us that first time, coming out the gate, we both brought very spiritual books. And like I said, we hadn't talked about that. We just ended up resonating towards those type of books. So let me ask, when you first were thinking about, well, what am I going to present this first time? What was it that ended up making that the one?
Probably the timing, or the how recent I read it. It was a book that I read. So we started in December of 2023. If I remember correctly, I think I read the book in the summer of 2023. It was either that summer or the previous summer. I lose track of time, especially with these last 4 years. It seems like after 2019, 2020 to 2024 was just all mushed together. But
You know what? I said that to somebody. It seemed like time just was,
yeah,
just
yeah,
what
but
it did.
that's a whole nother conversation about timeline jumping and all of that.
Look, we ain't get to those books yet.
Yeah, right. We didn't. Actually, I need to get me some of those because I don't have any of those. But yeah, I think it was how recently I read it. It was just a book that was on my mind that just had such an impact on me. So I guess it wasn't really considered an unread in the sense of how we define unread. Like it wasn't a book that I never read before, and it wasn't a book that I read a long time ago that I haven't revisited in a while. It was actually a book that I finished fairly recently, prior to offering it on the program. So I'm pretty sure that was the reason. And then, like I said, I had ordered it for a couple of people as well as gifts.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Well, if you remember that same very first episode, I bought The Secret Teachings of Jesus.
I
And
remember.
that was and one of the reasons I really love that book is um as a educator, I love books that are broken down into these kind of chapters where you can have a study discussion at the end, or they have questions at the end, or reflective pieces for you to think about. And it's in a world where again, so many people are seeking, and there's so much information out there. People think the idea is to get people to believe something, when in actuality, the idea is just to make people think. I don't care whether you agree or you disagree, just do it on your own accord, do it from your
Right.
own mind, have your own reasons. Don't just hate it because everybody else said it's not, like, what is it about it that you don't resonate with? Think about these things, because again, this helps in the process of what that really is for, which is self-refinement. And I think that was one of the things that I loved about your book, and even some of the other books that we study, is that it is from an esoteric perspective. Because if we just continue to look on it, look at it from the exoteric, we continue to get the same thing, the same rhetoric, the same dogma, the same superstitions, etc. But when we are freed up from that and allowed to really just let, ourselves explore, the possibilities, what I mean? The possibilities, that's when we really enrich ourselves and refine ourselves and find lessons, even in those things that, others may not. You know what I mean? Because everything is not for everybody. And just because, you can read a whole book and only one line meant anything to you. And I think that's one of the things we've really been able to share, even in this series that we've been doing.
Yeah, and that's the exact reason why I'm so open to receiving books and book recommendations from people, because I go in with that mindset that even if it doesn't appear to be a topic that I'm particularly interested in, or something that I don't subscribe to, I feel confident that there's, like you said, at least one idea or one line in there that I can take away and learn something from. So whenever people physically, loan me books or gift me books, I'm going to read the book, even if it's something. It could be something like, it could be a romance novel or something. I'll still read it. I'll still read it because I know.
You said the one genre that I'd be like,
I know I had to go to the extreme with it. I had to give a very clear example. I had to give a very clear example. Now, if somebody tells me the title of a book and recommends that I go read it, I may or may not actually read it. But if someone actually hands me the physical book, like, here, read this, it may take me a couple years to get around to it, but I'll eventually get around to it and read it.
I feel you. I feel
because
you.
I'm open-minded,
I am as well. I am as well. And I really laugh at that, because my love for books comes from being with my mom, and that was her thing, was the Harlequin novels. My mother could knock those back like like shots of coffee, espresso. She read that, read that. She drink her coffee and read her books. You couldn't tell her nothing, And so just to know that kind of same energy is carried on with me, with my children, with my grandchildren, even. That love of reading is there, and that openness and willingness to be able to read different things. I've found some amazing books, just books being offered to me, like, hey, I thought you might like this, or have you ever read anything like this? And some of them I have, and some of them I had, and then I was really pleasantly surprised, with that. And one of the books, I'm not as organized as you, because me, Nick. If I start pulling out books, I'm gonna pull out all the books to go with the books, and we going to be sitting here for a minute. So what I did was, I decided that I was just gonna pick a few of the favorite ones and just talk about those. Because if I
Yeah,
start opening them up again, we're gonna be reading, we're
yeah,
gonna
we
be
are.
doing all the things, you know.
And then I'm gonna
But
go get some
yeah,
too.
pretty much get the dictionary, you know.
Yep.
But you know, one of the books that I say that I was open to read and that I wouldn't have read, that actually has become a bit of an inspiration for a piece of work that I'm working on right now, a project that I'm working on, was Planets at Play. You remember when I brought that book? It's an astrology book. It's done a little bit different. It's in a voice that's very like, it's like a storytelling voice, you know, like if a Aries was a person, or you know, or if a Capricorn was in love, this is what it looks like, and they rate these scenarios and these stories to go with it. And you know, and it made me look at um how they were using astrology in storytelling, you know. And I and where the inspiration comes from is that you know, at one time in history, and even still now, people think of astrology as very bogus. You know, some people call it a pseudoscience. They don't even believe it's real, what have you. And that's fine. But you know, I think when I picked up that book, Planets at Play, like I said, I had purchased it for a project that some of the temple members were working on. So it wasn't for me to use, it was for them. But when, you know, we started doing this series and I was looking at unread books and I flipped through it, I was like, this is really an interesting setup for a book that's, you know, talking about something that truly has some undertones of things that people can use, you know, to not only better see themselves, but to see others in these different spaces. So, you know, it's called Planets at Play. So, you know, them, you know, in love life, and you know, in adventure, and all these different things. So that was one of my favorites to bring. That really required me to have a more open mind, and how it inspired me later to think about different ways in which we could talk about astrology now that may be able to take some of those stigmas and things away that people still have about astrology today.
Yeah, yeah, and that's one that I added to my list, you know, that I would like to get at some point. Because, you know, as you already know, I am, you know, deep into the study of numerology. And I started getting into astronumerology, which means incorporating the astrology into the numerology and putting those two sciences together. But I'm not very adept at astrology. You know, I know very basic aspects of it, such as the elements and how the elements work together and correspond with the elements associated with the numbers. So the way that you describe the book and Planets at Play being a text for a variety of audience, from the beginner all the way to the more advanced practitioner of astrology, that makes it an attractive title for me, you know, to pick up and add to my toolkit as I, you know, expand my knowledge and skills in astronumerology. So I'm definitely grateful for that offering.
Yeah, I really am too. I, you know, even when you were saying that, it, you know, that was one of the things that I really loved, is that it was written in a way where everyone could benefit from it. Because we know, especially even with the books that you know, we tell people this is unread, but it's also revisited as well. Some books that we feel we need to go back and revisit now that we are at a different space in our life. You know, we've grown, we've seen different things, we've read different things. One of the things about that book is the reason why it's from beginner to, a more advanced reader is because you can go back and look at one of the planets at play, like look at something like Mercury, where a person is, that's dealing with their communication, and do they have a playful way to communicate, and this, that, and the other. And you can examine that at the beginning level and get one thing out of it, but when you go back into it at a different skill level, it can really change the narrative of the story when you think about some of the things you've experienced with those same planets. So yeah, that was a banger. I like that one. I really did. I didn't, and I said that was one that when I'm working on that project, that writing project, I'll probably pull that one out to kind of refer to when creating my characters.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and I was one of those people that you mentioned earlier about calling astrology a pseudoscience. You know, I held that mentality for, much of my teenage and early adult years. So this is definitely a full circle, full cipher moment for me in that sense as well.
right. Well, congratulations to using it with your numerology as well. I know that definitely adds a different layer and an opportunity for you to be able to help your clients even further. For those of you who do not know, Brother Nick, his company Supreme Numerics, the brother gives some amazing readings, all types of readings. So I would suggest, if you are looking for a inner look, a different perspective, some popping on point information. He just gave me some information about my family today that was so on point. I was like, yeah, we need to do a full reading on that. But really, seriously, the brother Supreme Numerics, get at him if you haven't. And he does a special couples thing. So for all you people, now that y'all don't let Christmas pass, and now y'all got the New Year's, now you're gonna have Valentine's Day. Find out if your Valentine should be your Valentine.
See if y'all gonna make it from matching pajamas to Valentine's Day, right?
What? You
Yeah.
better hush your whole mouth.
But that I incorporate the astrology into that as well.
Right.
I'm looking at what element is your sign and what element is your number, and putting those things together. And that was a part of our training. So yes, I offer these services, but I come with a whole team, a whole family, and we call ourselves the astronumerologists of the 21st century, or
Hey,
the new
listen, I'm here
or
for it.
the new astronumerologists of the 21st century.
I'm
So
here for it.
so I got a whole team out there. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been shouting a couple of them out. Like I just shouted out Numeralytics, and I shouted out number everyday numbers, if I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, it's we got a whole team out here. We
That's what
rolling
I'm talking
out.
about. Use your things, use your tools. Moving forward, like now we've had those kind of books, very spiritual, because we get heavy on the spiritual. And what I tell people is I remind them that these are books from our personal book collections. So, we've studied whatever science we've been studying for, almost 20 years plus, for me, 30 years. And so, when we bring these things to you, we're not promoting any one religion. Or as you hang out with us, you'll see that we are definitely lords of the left hand path. We are lords of the left hand path for sure.
Absolutely.
And so you'll get a variety of books. And so if you've enjoyed these more Christian based books, just watch out. You got some other stuff coming in 2025, most high willing. How about that?
Mhm.
But one of the other things I've really enjoyed is that we had our first interview with someone who had a how-to book and told a great story about how they went from a hardship to damn near millionaires. So I'm gonna need you to, yes, brother Joseph Johnson was amazing. He had telling us his story, HVAC guy. Just remind us a little bit, Nick, about brother Johnson and his journey.
Yeah. So brother Joseph, he's a prior to learning that the HVAC trade, he was a former, I don't know what the proper terminology it is, for, but he was formerly incarcerated. I guess I'll use that language, because I don't know what the proper language. You got felons and convicts and all sorts of language.
Yeah,
But yeah, formerly
formerly,
incarcerated.
formerly behind the wall. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah, formerly convicted felon. That's what it says at the top.
Okay.
So at the top it says a tool for convicted felons getting started in the HVAC industry. So
Okay.
there you go. Yeah, so he was a formerly convicted felon. He learned that HVAC. A little fuzzy on the details. I don't remember if he started learning this trade while he was behind the wall or after, but
Right.
this is but the trades, those are something that convicted felons, that's something that's available to convicted felons, because we know that a lot of companies don't hire felons once they get out. So he told us the story about how he gave us the entire backstory from
Yes.
childhood up to now. And
Yes.
he's based in the Jacksonville area. Well, he's from the Jacksonville area, but he lives in Colorado now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was an amazing story. Very, and then the book is amazing as well. Very straightforward, easy to read.
Straightforward.
Yeah. Very, very concise, but detailed. So yep, yeah, it was definitely an honor to have him as our first guest. The power of networking, to reference another book, never never eat alone. The power of
Yes.
networking, because Joseph wasn't even someone that I knew personally. It was a mutual contact that connected us. you know so
And you brought that one, Never Eat Alone, when I just was checking my note when I did Planet Set Play. That was the one you used. Was
okay,
Never Eat
yeah,
Alone.
that's
Same one.
right, bringing it
But
back.
yeah, but as for the brothers book, again, brilliant, brilliant brother, and such a compelling, interesting story. A very our story. And what I mean by our story is, all of us knowing someone who has dealt with some aspect of the correctional facilities or prisons or what have you, know that, many times part of the reason why, the recidivism rate is what it is because people come out and they can't get jobs. So he came out and created one for himself. And I thought that was honorable. The fact that he wanted to make sure that other people were able to do the same thing was honorable. But if you remember, the thing that tickled me so much with his book was that it was so straightforward. It was like turn on the water, turn
Yeah,
on the light, like
right.
turn the spirit. And I laughed because he said, "You'd be surprised though how you have to really tell people each and every
True.
step."
You
And
do.
he did that in such a way where you don't feel like he's talking down to you. You
Hmm.
don't, he's like, look, this is how you do it to get the proper jobs. Like, this is how you always going to get the job. Be professional like this. Do this step, this step, this step. Do say this, say that, say this. And I really, I like that. And I like the fact that he not only sells the book, but he gives workshops and talks to people and teaches people how to do these things. You know, you and I, you know, we did Human Rights Week, and we was talking about some of these jobs coming up and who want to do what job. Like, yo, we gonna always need somebody to know how to do HVAC and plumbing and mechanics and all, and we're losing these things. You know what I'm saying? So to have a brother that's teaching a trade, you know what I'm saying, to brothers who wouldn't, or sisters who wouldn't be able to get a job otherwise, that's what's up. And he teaches them how to do it for themselves. I thought that was nice. It's not like he's trying to hire no employees. He's trying to teach you how to do this for yourself. So I thought that was really cool.
How to follow the process, you know, coming up under someone, maybe an apprenticeship type of because we talked about that for Human Rights Week as well, you know, the need for apprenticeships, but how to eventually do it for yourself after you got that training, you know, and not only does he lay out all the steps, or it's important for you to lay out every single step, but there's an order to the steps as well. You know, you can't, you can't go to, you can't remove this piece before you turn on the water. So you got to like first, second, third, so that, that's very, very important as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Talking about laying out steps, can we talk about Sister Sheshet Ali?
Oh yeah, with how that steps to publishing the book.
That sister laid that. Just that part of that by itself was a master's class.
Yes, it was.
And that was a master's class.
And that was just a crash course.
What? Talk about it. She laid it out so smooth that it was just like, and then she was gracious enough to go back and reiterate, like, look, for all of y'all looking to publish for yourself, because that brother published for himself. And see, he could have benefited from some of the things that she said. And I hope the people who have listened really go back and play that part again, because she laid out this process to print your own book that makes it simple, but professional in a way that a lot of us don't get, because we don't know these are the steps that you should take or could take to make your product or your project that much better. So I really enjoyed that. I really did. She was amazing. She was amazing. Her story was amazing. The book is amazing. We went through the book together. We see all the gifts and jewels in it. We see how she created not only presented a wonderful story, but created a legacy. That's what she started with this book. And so that's one of my favorites. Blown away. All my granddaughters got it. Bang, 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 bang. Send everybody one. You get a book, and you get a book, and you get a book. But
you definitely reminded me. Yep, and you reminded me that one of our viewers did purchase the book from her website too. So
yes,
Naisha purchased the book for her daughter from the website, and she loved the interview as well, and is very excited about reading it with her daughter. And just to clarify, Joseph did get a publisher for this one. He's thinking about when he does the biography or this next one, he might explore the self-publishing, but he did have a publisher for this one.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about. He was talking about how initially he wanted to, but he saw that it would be, better to, have someone else. But moving forward, I mean, isn't it that we see that in every industry right now? People are really taking control of their creative property, their intellectual property, and being able to do what they want. There was some vanguards in the way of that, and I think they really set up this space where people are being more adventurous in working and, you know, creating ways to do things themselves. And I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I'm here
It's
for it.
important. Yeah, it's important more, more now than ever, with everything that's going on with the corporations and censorship and controlling the narrative and all of that. So yeah, it's definitely important to have complete creative control over your art and your product, in this day and age, regardless of what you're creating, whether it's a book, music, visual art, movies, film, TV shows. It's important across the board to have
Yeah.
creative control over everything.
I know this is kind of like sidebar, but you know, we always get to our sidebars too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering, we've always had creatives, we've always had people, with varying levels of talent across, various genres of what's considered art. You know, do you think it's harder in this time really to protect your work than it was, back in the day a little bit? Do you think it's harder, or do you think that um it just seems that way because of the interwebs?
Yeah, and protect is an interesting word also, because we think about how easy it is to produce with all these mediums that we have. With the internet, it's very easy to put something out, but when you say protect, that's another layer that we need to pay more attention to, because oftentimes when we're using the internet or the interwebs, like you're saying, to distribute our creations, we don't control the internet, or we don't control the platforms that we put our products on, i.e., for example, we're on YouTube right now. So we have complete control over the type of show that we do, or the type of content that we do, what we choose to discuss. We have a certain level of control over that. But if YouTube decides to just shut down everything one day and hit the switch, everything's going to be gone. And
Right.
that's even more impactful or significant for people who make their living, on these platforms. So it's a tricky situation where it's easier to get your art out there, but I would say yes, it is harder to protect if you're not controlling, or if you don't actually own the platform that you're distributing your product on. Mm.
Right. Yeah, and I'll go one step further with the protect part. Is that, and this is just from what I've seen, because I'm no social media, mogul or nothing. I don't know, I don't know what I'm doing over there sometimes,
Yeah.
but I think about things like just we'll use a Van Gogh for a reference, right? Or a
Right.
piece of Beethoven's art.
Right.
You remember they used to have like people who were specialists to come in and counterfeit a picture.
Yeah.
Now all somebody got to do is screenshot your picture,
Yeah.
copy and paste it, and they
That's
got your
right.
artwork forever, and they can manipulate it and change it. And once they manipulate it and change it, it's no longer the same thing. So they can
Right.
actually get away with using your intellectual property without ever giving you any credit. And when I think about these books that are being written, the sister said it about making sure you register your book and all of that stuff like that. But that still doesn't guarantee anything anymore. You know, it's just a different world, you know, and I think this is one of the reasons when we vis well present books and then present an updated version and then go back and compare the one. It's good to do that because it's nice to see what was there versus what's there now, you
Right.
know. And I mean, even in some of the same authors, I have authors who wrote a book, and then when they did the second version of the book, they changed, like, you know, 6 or 7 things in the book. So in essence, it's not the same book anymore. You
Right.
know what I mean? They have
Right.
some of the same stuff in there, but it's not the same. So it is a whole new work unto itself. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? But yeah, I just wondered about that because, you know, this people are, I think people are in a place where they'd like to be able to communicate more about what it is they're learning and they're reading and they're sharing. And that's why on our platform we always invite you guys, if you have a book or a topic we're talking about that interests you and you want to join in, join us. You know what I mean? You can hit us up, Gmail at Mawulisatemple@gmail.com, on IG Mawulisatemple1, on YouTube, Mawulisa with a Z4610, Brother Westbrooks at Mr. Westbrooks. We are here, you know, because we need to have these kind of conversations. You know, we need to keep ourselves intellectually stimulated. You know, it's, you know, I thought, and this is just my opinion, you know, I thought that during that mandatory locking in the house that
Yeah.
you were going to see, you know, people were going to come out of that, and some did,
Mm-hmm.
with, you know, with the profound new respect for reading and conversation and the importance of conversation over physicality. And, you know, I can remember everybody running around talking about they were sapiosexual. I said they learned one word and everybody used it. And then once everybody could go outside, it was like, ah, you know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that sounds good, but, you
Yeah.
know, and so,
Never
you
picked
know,
up one book.
yeah, I read that one. Oh, but you know, it's really one of those things where it's like, I don't know, the unseriousness of it all. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like I mean, even look at our platform. We laugh so much.
Yeah,
We laugh at some of the craziest, wildest stuff,
we
but
do.
we really do take this stuff serious. You know what I mean? We take it serious, and this is why our bookshelves look the way they do, because we do take this stuff serious. So I thank all of you guys who have been rocking with us this last year, giving us your feedback, you know, giving us your reviews, you know, sharing with us. There's been a couple of people who even said they wanted to share some things they were working on now and moving towards 2025. We, you know, talking about having a corner just for that, for people who want to share their new works, who may be interested in getting their work critique live, or a little bit of their, you know, we hear a little bit of what they got going on, and maybe be able to offer some assistance in whichever way they go, and have one of our master writers on, and have them guide them a little bit as we move towards one of our first in-person, you know, writer reader retreats. So we got some things coming for y'all in 2025. Nick, you know, you
Mhm.
brought up that basketball book. You know, that was one of the ones that, you know, I can't say that I had never heard of the references towards some of that, but you really brought some light to um that topic as you brought that up. And you know, we just had my Steelers suck ass on the other day. And that's right. I hope y'all hear me. I was so vexed. Because I don't even I don't even do sports like I used to, but it's like in my soul, football. So it was just like, come on, I know they're gonna win just this one time. No, they couldn't. But let's talk about the slave side of of Sunday, man. That was a great book, and that was one that I actually wanted to pick up for myself because I read a lot of books about not only sports but different coaches and things like that. So that book right there, speaking to some of the shenanigans that go on with finances in sports. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Give us a little recap on that one, if you will.
Yeah, shoot. This is something that I probably need to. This is now becoming an unread once again. Before it was an unread, never read before. And now that I read it, it's been a while. It's been about a year, almost a year. But yeah, this book, Anthony E. Pryor, he was a former college football player, NFL football player. So he was able to speak from firsthand experience and draw those parallels between slavery and football. Just drawing parallels between the plantation, working outside, being the equivalent to the football field, the coaches and the team owners and the managers, being compared to slave owners and overseers and things of that nature. And also, like you referenced the consumerism and the materialism of the athletes and how they're almost brainless. They just get out there and perform or act as the buck, and just get out there sweating and hitting each other, for some trinkets, and not really caring about how they're being dehumanized by these team owners and managers and coaches. And he gives specific stories of how the coaches speak to the players. I remember pointing out one passage during our unread episode of how the coach literally telling the players that he owns them, since they joined the team. Mm-hmm. So yeah, yep. That's definitely, and he like I said, he makes the parallels to history, referencing some of our intellectuals and our teachers, such as W.B. Du Bois and Benjamin E. Mays. So yeah, those were some of the highlights, and I also highlighted the bookstore in which I bought this book from. I bought it from an online Black-owned bookstore. It wasn't on Amazon, because I know we share the Amazon links most of the time for books, but this book was not on Amazon, for the better, because I was able to support a Black-owned bookstore. I have to look up the name of it again, but I know I have it in our description of the video or on the Instagram post. So I had to make a point to mention that also. So as you're talking, Roo, I'll get the name of that bookstore so we can shout them out again. But yeah, Slave Side of Sunday.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Like I said, I jokingly talk about sports. I grew up in a sports family, so it's one of those things where when you start to overstand some of that kind of stuff that's going on, it loses some of its pizzazz. So I remember I couldn't miss a game. You hear me? I couldn't miss a game. I'm screaming at the TV. I'm screaming at the players. the player crying, I'm crying. You know what I'm saying? But he getting $4 million. I ain't getting nothing. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but when you read about, and this is for me, when you read about some of the ways that these people are treated when they're in college, that was one of the things that I think really got me, how they use them in a way to make so much money. I mean, just in different kind of ways. And most of these children don't ever see any of that money. And even when they make it to the NFL level, it's a pony show, and so they go through, they might as well have them stood out and make them make muscles and all kinds of stuff, and smile, show your teeth, show your leg, because this is what they're paying for. They're paying for the best of the best of the best, and so they want that, and here's the thing, I believe a person should be paid for their ability and for their skill and for their talent and everything like that. But the way that our players are still treated, the way that our people are still treated in some of these sports spaces, make you wonder what year we're in. Excuse me. And make you wonder what year we're in, because it's like, okay, I can remember hearing this stuff about the old school Negro Baseball League. So if that was going on then and this is going on now, we know it's going on. Why is this still going on? And why is it why is it even allowed to be done? Because we hear about these players who go on to either buy teams or invest in the franchise or whatever. And I wonder sometimes if they are trying to fix a system, much like everything else, that'll never be truly what it could be for you, and not just going to create their own. I constantly wonder why we don't create our own spaces for these things. If we realize we are the show. Mm-hmm. We are the show.
That's right.
What percentage of us make up a team, any team? Outside of hockey, and that's one of my other favorite sports. Outside of hockey, we dominate just about everything,
right?
Including polo, water polo, and look at the origin of polo. You know what I'm saying? The origin of polo was knocking heads loose. You know what I mean? So and now we dominate that sport. So the slave side of Sunday, it should just be the slave side of sports.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? It should be, because even think about boxing, which is, that was one of my first jobs out of high school, was working for a boxing agency, and I tell people it was one of the greatest jobs I had, because I was getting paid to watch something I loved every day. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, seeing the way that the business worked from behind the scenes, you like, this is not what you think it is. It's not glamorous. It's not, it's not, you can have somebody, on the cart for $1 million. Do not mean they'll ever see anything that look like that. You know what I mean? Does not mean that they're going to get seen for that concussion that they probably had. Like it's things that money just can't pay for. But the slave side of Sunday, I really, like I said, that's one that I'd like to add to my collection, because of your presentation of it here. And I thank you for that, because again, being a overall sports fan, sometimes I think we forget about the horse and pony show that's going on behind the scenes, and some of the things that these people have to endure just to be able to get ahead. Because if you think about how many little boys and girls want to be whatever sports thing when they grow up, the percentage of how many actually make it, you know, is, you know, it kind of shows why the people who are doing it put up with it, because it's like, I'm one in a million, you know, I'm one, I made it out my hood, I made it out my, you know, situation. So they just grateful to be there, and they take whatever part of it they can. So yeah, that's a great book. I love that, and I love the title too.
Yep. Yes. So yes, indeed. And I like what you said about the slave side of sports. And I think the only distinction is where it's occurring. So you could think of NFL as slavery in the South and the NBA as slavery in the North.
Hey,
Yep.
and let's
Yep.
not forget good old baseball.
Yep. 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 America's pastime.
What?
Yep. Yeah. So the name of that bookstore that I got Slave Side of Sunday from is called Culture Bound Bookstore. That's what it is. Culture Bound Bookstore. To share, shout them out again. Yep. Culture
Yeah.
Bound Bookstore. And
Make sure you put them down in the description again so people can give them a shout out. Make sure you tag that company in there so they know.
You're in a paralyzed state of consciousness.
Yep.
Because today in the NFL and in the Canadian Football League,
all right.
you got players calling players pork monkey, shine, Sam.
I was just yeah.
You got grown men in high school, college, even in the pros, fighting like slaves on a plantation before the game even starts. This is a moral issue that needs to be addressed today. When in 1946, when the NFL was forced to reintegrate, because from 1933 to 1945, the all-white NFL didn't want any blacks in the industry. They said the black players were slowing down its growth. And then Fritz Pollard developed the Negro Football League. And after World War II, there was a big push for the Negro League to compete with the all-white NFL. So what they did was they took the good players from the Negro League and integrated them into the all-white NFL. And now since
we can listen to all of that, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that. And
had that in there.
It speaks directly to what we're saying. Absolutely.
And then this is you can see that image. That's what you were talking about, Roo.
Yes.
Line them up. That's from the weigh-in.
Yes, line them up, weigh them, look at them, look them over, all of that stuff. Yes.
In their underwear too.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The Senior Bowl weigh-in.
Yep. It's really something, you know. I don't know. Like I said, I grew up in a sports family, so my siblings played sports, and you know, I played sports, and you know, but watching that I think you really, well, no, I can't say you don't see it at the high school level, because depending on where you live, because certain places football is God, you know what I mean? Especially if you go to Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like in the South, football, I can remember, you know, I'm a big semi-football fan, you know, I love semi-football because, you know, these are the guys who are just like in between that, you know, I'm too old to play for college, but I didn't quite make it to the NFL, you know what I'm saying? So they be playing hard on a different level, right? And we would go all over to watch those games down south. I mean, we drive 2 hours to go see a game, you know. So depending on where you are, like you said, the way you know, but you really start to see it, I think, at the level of college, when you see how much they really get used, when you hear about these boosters that these schools do to raise money for, you know, for the college coaches tuition and things like that. I just read somewhere that one of the richest men is some coach somewhere, and they were talking about it in Utah, as I think it was, as a matter of fact, and they were saying that most of his money came from private donors and fundraisers. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, you know, so interesting times. That was a great book though. That was a great book. I mean, so you know, I think one of the last, well, you know, I could talk about every episode is something that I enjoyed from it, but you know, we gonna leave something. You know, we gonna let people go back and catch up because that's what they need to go ahead and do so they can be ready for 2025. But you know, one of the ones I like to finish up talking about was poetry, because that was something we had no intention on doing, but just so happened we both had somebody we wanted to come on, and they both happened to be poets during Poetry Month. So it was kind of cool.
That one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we playing that one. We definitely plan to have some poets on in April.
Yeah, we did. You know, it just we said, well, we both want to have poets on. Just so happened Poetry Month was coming, and you know, it was we had the sister Tiara, and we had the sister Tiara, and we had the brother Samuel. Yes, Voices Within Range. Yes, the sister was here sharing the wisdom with us, and brother Samuel Brain Complicated Passions. Been knowing that brother for, oh my gosh, over 14 years. Man is a genius. He's one of the Barry Whites of poetry. Be having women losing their minds, you know what I'm saying? That's our big brother, though. Shout out to brother Samuel. Shout out to sister Tiara.
I think you know Samuel. Well, I think I've known Tiara almost the same amount of time that you know Samuel.
Yeah,
maybe not quite 14, but maybe is getting there. Maybe 12, 13 years, somewhere around there.
I've never been one to be able to memorize poems. So I always admire people who were able to write and then perform their poetry, and both of them were able to do that on such a level. And I've seen brother Samuel, you know, and enjoyed some of his work live, and so I know that he is the real deal. And when it comes to that, and we know quite a few spoken word, you know, artists and things that be at some of the places we frequent, like books of, you know, the Source of Knowledge, and some of the other different places that, you know, we've seen poets, you know, all over the, you know, city of Newark, and all through New Jersey, down New Brunswick. We get to see all these different people. So it's nice to it was nice to have actual poets on to share with us and share their work with us and tell us what things they had coming up. You know, you talked a little bit about one of your first poems back in the day. You know what I'm saying? Would you like to tell us about your history and your life with poetry, you know, and why you enjoy the form so much?
I mean, it's very brief. Like I've written well, actually no, there's a couple of different forms of that. So in terms of just poetry, you know, not counting rap, just talking about poetry, I've mainly only dabbled in poetry out of necessity, you know, for school assignments, you know. So I've written some pieces for school assignments, but I've also dabbled in rhymes. Like I got a ton. As a matter of fact, I went in the archives and found like my old notebooks. I'm right here, matter of fact. But got this big binder right here.
Oh no, not the big book of raps.
Yeah, got composition books, you know, composition books
and composition pad. That got all
pads, you know, and I got loose pages here.
Oh my goodness. How many people want to hear Nick like just bust a freestyle? See, 2025, y'all gotta come back. We're gonna have to find a way to get him to do it, you know. Everybody put their votes in. Put their votes in.
Well,
do you want to hear Nick bust a freestyle?
I gave him a couple of joints on IG. You know, I gave like one, you know, one clean one that I did for class. That's this one right here. I just had it up. Yeah, this one right here. This is from May 22nd, 2009. This is the I am from poem I did for AP literature class. So that's a clean one. The other one, it wasn't as clean, as most of my raps are not clean. So I might have to pull out one of those clean ones that I did for school, because everything else, I'm probably gonna have to sit on those until, you know, the statute of limitations is up, and I'm like retired or something, because I was going back reading some of that stuff. I'm like, good Lord. No, good. Yeah, I'm like, good gracious. You know, in today's language, in today's buzzword trendy language, I would get canceled for
all
the stuff that's in here.
All day. Nick, you know, it's so funny because we were talking about poetry that day and us trying our hand at poetry. And, you know, I got a whole long story I could tell about how my mom used to call me the poet. But whenever I felt like I wasn't being heard, I would go write a poem and leave it somewhere for somebody to find. You know, like leave it on the kitchen table underneath the bread, you know, or something like that. You know, but oh my gosh, one day I'm cleaning up and I found one of my old notebooks, and it was so funny to me that I couldn't even read it. It was like darkness and despair take over my soul. As I was like, how old was I? I was so, you know, you'd be so surprised, you know, how many emotions, you know, these words we find for whatever it is we feeling in that moment. And, you know, when I just look at some of those and you know, and how young I was writing some of this stuff moving forward, when I think about my life, I was like, hell, I could have wrote that at 15, 25, 35, 45, 55. I could have wrote that same poem over and over again and probably have in some form. But, you know, I just think that it's a great way to share your thoughts, share your feelings and different things like that. I did share that same day my cousin Kenneth Forward,
right,
who had a double lung transplant, and all he wanted to get done before he transitioned, he wanted to publish one of his poems. So I have one of the only copies of his poem published in the hardcover, and I shout out the company poetry.com who made his dream come true to be able to publish his work with other poets. And, you know, he was able to do that before he transitioned. So, you know, I'm grateful for that. And so I tell people, not only do we promote the reading of books over here, we promote the writing of books, man. And you know, and not only do we promote it, we bring people on who give little mini master classes on how to get it done. Yep. You know, and it's really an awesome honor to be able to do that. So I thank y'all for giving us your time when we come out and we share these unread books and our thoughts and our silliness and all of that good stuff. But we really do promote literacy in every way in this space. And so, you know, yeah, Nick, what else you want to kick it about? Because I mean, I got one thing I'm ready to go out on, and then I'm gonna be done for 2024.
I mean, I think we covered all of the all the hot. Well, I'll say one more thing about the poetry is that you know, if we want to run it back for April 2025, you know, I got some more people we can bring on that's published or yeah, that's published or in the process of getting published. So yeah, I'm looking forward to April because I already got some people in mind too for that. But
Listen,
yeah.
y'all hear this? Y'all want to get in on it? Nick already got people lined up. Come on now, give me some people lining up. You writing that poetry? You got some poetry you want to share? Yep. 2025 April, we're gonna have our poetry month. We're gonna be dedicating that to our poets. Yes,
right.
yes.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah, so I say that, and then I also before we get out of here, I had another update that I just remembered, a book that it's not read yet, but it's in the process. So I want to share a book that I'm in the process of reading that I just featured in a recent episode. Maybe I think this was around the time. Yeah, this is about a month ago. The book that I featured about a month ago, 8 Rules of Love.
Yes.
I am currently reading this right now. And
he was reading on the beach, y'all. He was reading on the beach.
The backyard.
While the rest of us was cold, he was reading on the beach.
Yeah, the backyard. I mean, the people that live up north, you know, and you know that they was in the cold, but yeah, I'm about 3. Yeah, I'm into the 4th chapter, about 100 pages into it. So I made a good dent in it so far. I just started it maybe like 2 days ago. So I am in the middle of reading this book that I featured in UnRead.
Yes. And that was one of the really good ones you talked about. So you said it was a one you were looking forward to reading. So
yep, and it's great so far. It's great so far. Yep. So I just got through the chapter about solitude, and I'm into not the chapter, but the part, because the first part I think consisted of 2 chapters, I think 2 or 3 chapters. So I'm done with part 1 about solitude, and now I'm into the part about connecting with others.
Okay.
So it's pretty good so far. Pretty good.
I'm loving that. I'm excited. Yeah. I don't know. So next year, 2025, we got some great things coming up. I'm excited. We're gonna kick our first episode off with something so fire that if y'all not there, you just gonna miss out. You know, we should just play it one time and take it down. Just because you don't need to be missing this, my people. You don't need to be missing this. You know what I'm saying? UnRead Book Review with Nick and Roo. But you know, those interviews we be doing, they be doing something. They be talking, they be popping, they be sharing. So I don't know.
Got more of those in mind too. You know, I only talked about the poets. I ain't talking about the other authors. Like, you know, we
exactly. Yo, listen, I'm crazy excited. You know, it's so funny because for those who remember, in the midst of everything that was going on, I was moving. So I was packing and unpacking boxes, you know, of books, and I'm still unpacking books, y'all. I literally said one day, I said, this is a lot of books. I had to admit it for myself, like, this is a lot of books. Like, yo, this is a lot. But you know, it's so funny because as I'm packing up, I'm like, oh, I want to do this one. I want to do this one. I want to do this one. Look, I'm ready for 2026. How about that? I got enough books stacked and ready to go. Like each week, we do it every 2 weeks, y'all. Yeah. I trust I got enough books to take us into 2026.
Yep.
And I'm just like, and I can give you some more, but we just gonna hold on that.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know how us readers do. not only do we have, and she's just talking about the books she already has. You know, we're in the process. In the process, we're still buying more books and getting more books in the process.
Don't tell that part. Don't tell that part. That's not happening, y'all. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's certainly happening with me. I'm certainly adding new books to the list and adding new ones to the shelf.
Yo, do you know one of the things that, you know, I want everybody to tune in for next year? Next year, you know, we doing some in-person things, and one of the things that that I look forward to is the fair, the book fairs. And you know, I think about how, you know, there are so many books from so many places. It's definitely gonna be a year for books and purchasing some new ones, because man, it's a lot of books coming out. It's a lot of great books coming out. And the thing I love about the book fairs is most times you find books that people don't even know about yet. But I'm gonna tell you how geeky I am, and then I'm gonna share this book with you. So the other day, one of the news feeds, one of the bookstores that I follow, is a bookstore in Utah. They have old rare books, and he has like a Bible from like 14 something, you know. And so last night, no lie, like 11 something, I'm looking at tickets to Utah.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm looking at tickets to Utah, like, well, if I go on a Tuesday, that'd be cheap. Then I could just touch the book, and then I could be back home by Friday. And I could talk about it on Saturday. Oh man, he just got so many. He talked about so many great books, and that's what I think I really love, is that no matter how many books we have that are unread, there are so many books that there will always be something unread that we're looking forward to read. And you know, especially for those of us who love to tie subjects together and cross-reference, and like you are right now doing the astronumerology, so you're crossing over this book to that book. So I mean, when you really are enjoying books, and you become primary researchers and you know, readers like we are, it's inevitable that we're going to be nerdy to the core. We are nerdy to the core, you know. Yeah, we nerdy to the core. But I was looking at tickets to Utah, and please understand that if I find some cheap tickets to Utah, I'm going to go to Utah. Yeah. Because I asked first, I sent the message like, do you let people touch the book? Because I'm not going if I can't touch it. You know what I mean? But if you got books in there that I can touch, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. What do you mean I need a hotel room? I'll be staying here tonight, sir. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't need a hotel. I need to just sit right here in this chair, and you can stack them books up, and we can have a go at it. So I want to finish up with, I had a great time this year. You know, I love to laugh. We've had some great laughs. You know, Sister Seshat Ali, she brought some tears out of me a little bit. I had to get myself together real quick, you know, but for the most part, it's been a year full of laughter, and laughter to tears, you know, sometimes, in an opportunity to be able to share some of the books that bring me so much joy, and some of the ones that I have that I know are going to bring me joy. That's why they're on this list. But I wanted to share a book, my final book for the year. I didn't really plan on it, but I thought it was funny because I knew how much laughing we would do today. So, you know, I don't know what kind of friends, you know, you guys have, but my friends pretty much know me. They know I like the things I like. I like books. I like toys. I like socks. You know what I'm saying? And I like and t-shirts, you know, like I'm really simple. I'm not a hard lady to please, But I had somebody try to diss me one time.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I had somebody try to diss me one time by giving me a book. And you know, it's funny because you know, you think about, you know, when people give you books, so you know, people will know your situation and they'll give you something like a self-help book. Like one year my son gave me a book on childhood trauma. It, you know, it was such a beautiful gift, you know what I mean, because it was so thoughtful, you know what I mean. And when you have adult children, sometimes, you know, those kind of things don't go talked about. So he gave me a book on childhood trauma. Like, I understand you, mom. We know you're crazy. We got it. You know, it's like, but I had this person try to diss me and giving me a book. So basically their premise was basically that I had led them on or whatever, you know, like I was playing tricks or games with them. So they thought it would be funny to give me a book on magic.
What? Magic tricks for grown-ups. What? What?
Wait a minute. It get better. It get better. Because they had the nerve to write in it.
They autographed it too.
Oh my God, they
for
had
you
the nerve
too
to
in
write
there.
in it.
No.
It says, the greatest life reflection of games. And it says, take this book and allow it to teach you all the tricks that it holds so you can improve your game and make what you already know right now better. But this book don't contain the kind of tricks that you are.
Woo. Yo. Yeah.
So I figured they was a little mad at me. You know. But the funny part is they don't know how funny this is to me.
That is hilarious. The cunning coin.
You know, I thought this was just the funniest thing that I had ever gotten. I said, because they really thought they was hurting my feelings, giving me a book on something I wanted to learn. I love tricks, you know what I'm saying? And they're not just for kids. So I will tell you that was the one I wanted to leave. I wanted to leave on. The lady vanishes. That's what they really was worried about, because the lady was vanishing. But I thought that was funny. They tried to diss me with a book. So shout out to the person that tried to diss me with this book. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I share it with people. I do party tricks, everything. You got me some tips when I be working extra. So thank you. God bless you.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious.
They were so mad they couldn't even write real sentences. I was crying. I read it just the way they wrote it. So that was the sentences they decided to put in there. But I thought that was, I said, did they try to diss me, giving me a book of tricks? I said, are they trying to call me a trick?
Oh man,
I thought it was hysterical.
That's a new one. That's a new one for me.
Listen, bruh, listen. When you a nerd, you get people that do really weird things to call themselves trying to diss you. I don't know. I guess, you know, somebody will probably send me a math problem in the mail or something just to try to trip me up, because they know maths is not my strong space. You know what I mean? But I thought it was funny. And you know, I think you know, there was a place for me to probably get mad there, but how could I? First of all, that signature inside an autograph was everything, and you could see the anger in which they were writing. So shout out to the homie that gave me the book on magic tricks. Yeah. Magic tricks for grown-ups. And threw the pen down, you know, just you know, now go learn how to hide a coin.
Yeah, now take that.
Pull a coin out your ear. So this is an unread, but I have learned a couple of tricks out of it. So, maybe one day for the readers, I'll do one of my card tricks.
And I never heard this story before. Like Rue's over here hiding these hidden talents from me. I didn't even know she had this talent. She know a couple tricks. She never shared none of this with me before.
Well, apparently, according to them, I know all the tricks. Oh. But now I happen to know some actual tricks too. So I thought it was funny, yo, because I actually be trying to do.
Of course you do. You wouldn't be you if you didn't.
Oh my God. I said the funny part is I plan on getting 5 good tricks down, recording it, and send it to them. Had the music playing in the background like that. You picked the right one. Oh my God. That was too funny for me. I loved it though, man. I love it. Listen, I never met a book I didn't like. Give them all to me. I'll take them.
Right.
So that one was well appreciated, even though it came with bad intention.
Right. See now you give me something to look forward to 2025. So now I'm going to have to, throw some wild cards in there, throw something.
I can make them disappear.
I'm going to, now you got me thinking of some ideas now, how I could bring some really unexpected books to the.
And that's what it's all about, baby. Bring all your books. Ain't nothing. It's not a book that's not welcome here. It's not a book that's not welcome here. And I'm going to talk about that next year, y'all. Y'all better stay tuned.
Listen, you said it. So,
stay
all right, I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes, we're going to have us some fun. I'm excited about it. Nick, again, thank you for being a wonderful friend and co-host in this space. In other spaces, we do so much work together, online, offline, in the community, working with our peers to be able to bring people some of the greatest information out there. So, it's been a year, man. I'm excited. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Listen, like I tell you all the time offline, I love it here. I love it here, having a great time. So I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Hey. And we hope y'all feel that way too. You just had another episode of UnRead with Nick and Roo. Yo, listen, this was pure joy right here. I had so much fun. This year's been a lot of fun. Join us next year. Again, if you have to get at us, you got all of our information down below. Nick is going to put that Black bookseller down there as well for you guys to be able to go check out that book and whatever else they have going on, because they have a beautiful wide selection of things, and be able to support that Black-owned bookstore. And we thank you. And this is I think a wrap for 2024. Hey, listen, I'm excited. I'm happy. I'm proud of us. Yeah, you know what? Salute, bro.
Yeah, salute.
For sure. All right, y'all. Check us out next time, 2025. UnRead Book Review with Nick and Roo. We look forward to seeing you. Peace.